colleagues. I would like to welcome you to the 10th St. Petersburg International Legal Forum, which, as always, has brought together leading jurists and practicing lawyers from many countries. I am glad that after a forced interruption, the forum is again being held in person because even the most advanced communication technologies cannot replace a direct dialogue and face-to-face meetings. Participants at the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum recently discussed the most relevant political, financial, technological and cultural issues on the global agenda, many of these issues directly related to international law. It is important that you continue this conversation within this forum and discuss important topics like law in a multipolar world. It is true, a multipolar system of international relations is now being formed. It is an irreversible process. It is happening before our eyes and is objective in nature. The position of Russia and many other countries is that this democratic, more just world order should be built on the basis of mutual respect and trust, and, of course, on the generally accepted principles of international law and the UN Charter. At the same time, it is being said that law cannot adequately respond to the problems and challenges of today, to today's turbulent and fundamental changes. There are also more radical assessments that the idea of international law is being dismantled. I fundamentally disagree with these conclusions. Undoubtedly, the system of international law needs to be further developed, but we should not confuse cause and effect. Crises happen not because law is faulty, but because of attempts to replace law with dictate, and international standards with the national jurisdiction of certain states or groups of states, and a deliberate refusal to follow essential legal principles: justice, conscientiousness, equality and humanity. These are not just legal ideals, but values that reflect the diversity of our civilization. Some states are not ready to accept losing their supremacy on the international stage, and they are striving to preserve the unjust unipolar model. Under the guise of what they call order based on rules, and other questionable concepts, they try to control and direct global processes at their own discretion, and hold to a course of creating closed blocs and coalitions that make decisions for the benefit of one country, the United States of America. The natural rights of others in international relations are being ignored. The fundamental principle of indivisibility of security is being used selectively. The West's unilateral, illegitimate sanctions against sovereign states have reached an unprecedented scale. I will add that the countries that advocate their own exceptionalism also overstep the law and cross out such concepts as inviolability of property and freedom of speech in their own domestic policy as well. In sum, the domination of one country or a group of countries on the global stage is not only counterproductive, but also dangerous and inevitably creates global, systemic risk. The multipolar world of the 21st century does not have a place for inequality or for discrimination against states and peoples. Therefore, our country speaks for the practical realization of the pivotal international legal principle of the sovereign equality of states and the right of each state to pursue its own development model. The Russian foreign affairs agenda has always been and remains constructive. We develop multipolar relations with all who are interested in them and place great value on cooperation within the UN, the G20, BRICS, the SCO and other associations. Russia is open to dialogue on ensuring strategic stability, preserving agreements on the non-proliferation of weapons of mass destruction and improving the situation in arms control. We are focused on joining efforts on crucial issues like the climate agenda, fighting famine, providing stability in food and energy markets, and fair rules in international trade and competition. All of these areas require appropriate and flexible legal regulation and meticulous cooperation. With this approach, we can avoid crises such as the current one in Donbas that is happening to protect its residents from genocide, and there can be no other definition for the Kiev regime's actions than a crime against humanity. At the same time, Russia will continue to create a more democratic and just world where the rights of all peoples are guaranteed and mankind's cultural and civilizational diversity is preserved. I am confident that, by consistently following international law and joining our efforts, it is possible to resolve the most difficult problems that the world is facing and to provide for the stable, sustainable and progressive development of all states. Both practicing lawyers and jurists can and should bring a significant contribution to the recreation of the authority of law, strengthening its legal institutions and rebuilding trust in international relations. I wish all of you productive work and interesting networking. Thank you for your attention.